this chapter, we're going to learn all about angles, their relationships. We're going to have some geometry this chapter. Okay, so we're going to learn about some shapes too. So, angle relationships. So today we're going to classify special pairs of angles. So we're going to start off with some vocab. So we have complementary angles, which are two angles that add to 90 degrees. Okay. Supplementary angles are two angles that add to 180 degrees. And then vertical angles are two angles that share a vertex and whose sides form straight lines. I'm actually going to have you draw a picture here. So vertical angles, they share their vertex. So there's one angle. And their sides form straight lines. So I can continue this line straight through, continue this line straight through. So angles 1 and 2 would be vertical angles. Okay? They're two angles that share a vertex and whose sides form straight lines. All right, so let's go ahead and try one here. So in quadrilateral PQRS, identify all pairs of complementary angles and supplementary angles. So what we're going to do is we're just going to pair them up and see what they add up to. So here it says Q and R. So we're just going to add those two together. So Q is 35, R is 55, so 35 plus 55, let's see, that'd be 0, carry the 1, 3 plus 5 is 8, plus 1 would be 9. So since Q and R add up to 90, we can say that angle Q and angle R are complementary angles. Okay, and you can abbreviate it comp. Then we're going to look at P and Q. So measure of angle P is 145. The measure of angle Q is 35. If we add those up, we get 180. Because 5 plus 5 would be 10. 3 and 4 is 7, plus 1 is 8, and then the 1. So since angle P and angle Q add up to 180, we say that they are supplementary, or sup. Like sup, man. Okay? Letter C says we're going to look at R and S. So R and S, angle R is 55 degrees. Angle S is 125 degrees. If I add those up, 5 plus 5 is 10, carry the 1. 1 and 2 is 3, plus 5 is 8. And then I have my 1 there. So angle R and S add up to 180, so they are also supplementary angles. All right. If any of that didn't make sense, make sure maybe watch it again and then maybe go ask Miss B for some help. All right, so go ahead, the video is gonna pause. I want you to try these checkpoints on your own. Enter your answers over on the right-hand side and then hit continue to see how you did. So, let's see. Tell whether the angles are complementary, supplementary, or neither. So I'm gonna add them up. I'm gonna say 37 plus 73. So 3 and 7 is 10, carry the 1. 3 and 7 is 10, plus 1 is 11. 110 degrees, that's nothing special, so this is neither. Okay, measure angle 3 and measure angle 4. So again, I'm going to add those up. 2 and 8 is 10, carry the 1. 4 and 4 is 8, plus 1 is 9. 90 degrees, that makes them complementary. And number 3, add these up, let's see what happens. 3 plus 7 is 10, carry the 1. 1, 2 is 3, plus 5 is 8, and then I have this extra 1 there. So 180 degrees, which it means that they are supplementary. All right, hopefully you got those all right. If not, make sure you're asking questions either from Ms. B or from a good buddy that you think knows what they're doing. All right, let's look at another one. Example 2. finding an angle measure. So now we're looking for a missing angle measure. It tells me that they're complementary. So I know that if I do 1 plus 2, since it's complementary, it has to equal 90. Right? Then it's a matter of plugging in what the other thing it gives you. Well, it tells you measure of angle 1 is 46 degrees. So I have 46 for measure of angle 1, plus measure of angle 2 has to equal 90. Right, and you can think of this as like a big X, so how would I then get X by itself? Well, since I'm currently adding, I would subtract 46 from both sides. Right, I'm subtracting 46. Have to borrow. 10 minus 6 is 4, 8 minus 4 is 4. So the measure of angle 2 is 44 degrees. Right, instead of writing measure of angle 2, like I said, you could write an X since that's what you're looking for. All right, so how about you guys use that? It's telling you they're complementary. Go ahead and find numbers 4, 5, 6, and 7 there. Pause, enter your answers, then hit continue to see how you did. All right, so all I need to do is take 90 minus 64. Borrow. So I get 6 and 2, 26 degrees here. For 5, I do 90 minus 13. Borrow. 10 minus 3 is 7. 8 minus 1 is 7, so 77 degrees. 90 minus 82. And you might be able to do some of this in your head. That's okay. 10 minus 2 is 8. 8 minus 8 is 0, so it's just 8 degrees. Right? If you put that 0 up front, you will get it wrong. Y'all know better. Get rid of that 0. Okay, and then 90 minus 7. Borrow. 10 minus 7 is 3. Bring down the 8, so 83 degrees. Alrighty. Hopefully, again, that was pretty simple, straightforward. Okay, let's look at example 3. Using the diagram, right, we're going to look for a measure of angle 2, measure of angle 3, and measure of angle 4. So, we look here. If I traced measure of angle 1 and measure of angle 2, what do you notice about this, where I started and where I ended? Well, hopefully you notice that they make a straight line. They make a straight line that tells me that they are supplementary. Okay, that's important. You gotta be able to recognize that. And if they're supplementary, that means they equal 180 degrees. So then it's a matter of plugging in the other number it gives me. It gives me that measure of angle 1 is 65. So I'm going to do 65 plus x equals 180. Subtract 65 from both sides. Borrow here. So I get 115 for measure of angle 2. I subtracted 65. Okay, now, this other thing here is super important, so I want you to like circle it, star it, something like that. Vertical angles have the same measure. See, lots of stars. Super, super important. Okay, they have the same measure. So if I'm looking at measure of angle 1, it makes an X with 3. So 1 and 3 are equal. So the measure of angle 3 is equal to the measure of angle 1. And we know that the measure of angle 1 is 65. So that's the measure of angle 3. Right? Then we can do the same thing looking at 2 and 4. Right? So measure of angle 4 is equal to measure of angle 2. And we just found that 2 is 115. So that's the measure of angle 4. All right, vertical angles have the same measure. Those are super important. All right, I want to try one of these here with you first. All right, so it looks like I want to try number 10 with you. Okay, so number 10. So first of all, my biggest hint to you for this chapter is to always draw a diagram. So it says in example 3, which means we're using the same diagram. So my diagram looked like that. And then I had 1, 2, click back real quick here, 3, and 4. Okay, so then I'm going to label it as I go. So measure of angle 1 is 54. Well, if 1 is 54, then you should automatically know that 3 is also 54. Okay, and then 1 and 2 here form the straight line. So to find the other measures, I'm going to do 180 minus 54, borrow. 10 minus 4 is 6, 7 minus 5 is 2, bring down the 1. So then this angle is 126. And again, vertical angles tells me that angle 4 must also be 126 degrees. All right, go ahead, pause the video, enter your answer over on the right-hand side, and hit continue then to see how you do on checkpoints 8 and 9. All right, so we're gonna supplementary, meaning they add up to 180. So I'm gonna have 180 minus 132. Borrow here. 10 minus 2 is 8. 7 minus 3 is 4. So 48 degrees. Over here, again, supplementary. So 180 minus 23. Borrow. 10 minus 3 is 7. 7 minus 2 is 5. And 1 minus nothing is 1. So 157 degrees. All right, hopefully you found this lesson pretty simple. If not, again, make sure you're asking questions. You can ask your neighbors, you can ask Miss B, you can ask me when I'm back on Tuesday, but I really hope you don't wait till then. You can ask Mrs. Schmidt in resource time, or if you see her around. But with that, that does finish section 12.1, so go ahead and work on your assignment, and have a great weekend.